Everybody want to be in entertainment till it's time to get down to the business. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetto, Glitz and Ghetto, yeah, Glitz and Ghetto, it's Glitz and Ghetto, Glitz and Ghetto, it's Glitz and Ghetto. The glitz and glamour is a setup 'cause behind the scenes it really gets ghetto. Yeah.
What is up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Glitz and Ghetteaux podcast. Now, I'm doing things a little differently right now because I have episodes that are already inside of the chamber that I was supposed to be pushing out, especially after navigating all of the intricacies of getting episodes out and on the right platforms, etc. But I would be remiss if I did not use this opportunity to talk about the Diddy case and what it should be teaching you as a professional who is pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. What this case should be teaching you if that's what you're trying to do. Because I'm not going to pretend like I haven't been following along, and I'm also not going to pretend like a lot of these things that were said in this trial from the updates and etc. were not very, very triggering. And I feel like it's important for me as a person who wants to educate up and coming professionals inside of the entertainment industry, because I want to serve as your big sister, your guide, your mentor. I would be remiss if I did not use this case to talk about some of the things that you should avoid and some of the things that you should be learning from this case, because unfortunately things like this happen all the time, and it happens at different levels. And as I watch Diddy's case and I think about myself and my own personal experiences, and I think about friends who have shared traumatic and just really devastating stories with me from different individuals that they've worked with, it's being done at different levels, from the billionaires to the multimillionaires to the 100,000aires to the thousandaires to the hundredaires, okay? Because let's not pretend like a lot of these crews don't have a bunch of male groupie homeboys hanging around and doing mean things and acting like they're that guy because they know so many people want to get next to their boss friend who is whatever, okay? To begin, let's talk about how the entertainment industry is known for the trope of being sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And I think that spreads across the spectrum of the entertainment industry and all of its subsidiaries. So when I'm talking about the entertainment industry, I'm talking about film, TV, music, live theater. No matter if you are a singer, dancer, actress, producer, director, executive, manager, you name it, if you work inside of the entertainment industry, that trope is something that you're very well aware of. And I'm also going to include sports inside of that as well. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's a party lifestyle, especially when we're talking about hip hop artists, rock and roll artists, and music that perpetuates and sells this idea of leisure and sex and partying and drugs and alcohol. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll is something that is pervasive across all of these industries, okay? So when we talk about this whole Diddy case coming out, you have to understand that Diddy is considered a rock star, okay? He may not be in rock and roll, but he's considered a star and a mogul inside of the industry. So he had billions of dollars that he made as a brand, as an entity himself. But let's not pretend like there are not other individuals who got to a certain level and status who did not use it to womanize, manipulate, and abuse, frankly, women. And men too, but specifically women that I'm talking about, okay? This whole trope of sex, drugs, and rock and roll has been a moniker for the entertainment industry for decades. When we think about people like Ray Charles, from way back in the day, the 40s and 50s, the blues singer, he was rubbing on wrists to find out which woman he wanted to take home. And because he was a star, there were so many people who wanted proximity to him, they was willing to get that wrist hugged on and whatever. But he was womanizing, having sex. We saw that he had a drug addiction, and he was a musician. You see this pattern? When we talk about other people in the industry who don't look like Diddy. Let's talk about Bill Wyman, the Rolling Stones member. He was married to a woman who was 18 years old. Nobody talks about how he groomed her and all the things that he did. Like, he had young women around him all the time. Allegedly, his wife was around him since she was 13 years old. He waited till she was 18 to marry her, but they had a relationship going on behind the scene, and people decided to just sweep it under the rug. Nobody criminalized him for it, even though he was clearly committing a crime. When we think about people like Courtney Stodden, who was married to Doug Hutchinson, for my millennials, you might recognize them from Couples Therapy. And if you don't remember her, she was this cute little blonde girl. She married Doug Hutchinson when she was 16 years old because her parents signed away their rights and gave them the liberty to go ahead and get married. That 51-year-old man flew this 16-year-old woman who was an aspiring actress. She was a beautiful girl. He was supposed to be her acting coach. He acted as if he had all these opportunities for her, that he was going to make her this big star and things of that nature. Her parents signed away their rights to her, gave him the liberty to be not only her husband, but also her guardian. She was 16 years old. She also admitted inside of her documentary that's on Hulu that, yes, she started using drugs. Of course, there was a lot of sex between this 50-something-year-old man and this child, even though her parents gave her the right to marry him. And she was an actress, and so was he. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. We think about people like R. Kelly. We think about people like Bill Cosby. We think about people like Harvey Weinstein. Am I saying his name right? This trope has been going on for so long, and it's not okay. It's not okay. And I'm glad that this information is coming to the forefront. But this is for you as an entertainer to understand that you have to be careful about the way you are navigating this industry, because it's so pervasive that you too can fall prey to it. Okay? Because you want to be a star, because you want to be around these artists, because you want to do all these things, you want to use your beauty and your handsomeness to have access to these people. And trust me, if you lead with your beauty and your body, they're going to take advantage of that, because trust me, you're not the first person who thought that they could do it. People are having sex all the time, hoping and wishing and praying for opportunities, and it never comes. I've been in situations where the homeboy who's around for clout, who be at all the events because he the homeboy to the star, is having sex with girl A over here and girl B over here, promising them both, oh, you gonna get an opportunity to be inside the video, he gonna listen to me, da-da-da-da-da. She's not even invited to set, not girl A or girl B, because homeboy don't have the power. So you think you leading with your body and your beauty and sex, but it doesn't lead to the opportunity. I know talented individuals who will use their body for access to things, hoping that it's going to pan out to something, and oftentimes it does not. You just getting hunched and moved along. Don't let yourself become a victim of that. Don't let yourself become a victim of that. When we talk about this whole Diddy situation, Diddy is an entity. I know we like to think that he's this huge brand and he's larger than life and he got all these employees and doing all these things. What this case has let us know is that he has a revolving door of assistants and a very small team of people that help him to manage his brand. His brand gets other deals with other people. The label wasn't pushing out music like that no more. How many other artists y'all know that Diddy has put out since making the band? He don't have no artist out except for his son. And he pushes himself out as an artist as well. So he's an entity who has brand deals with other things. So think of him as an influencer. An influencer puts out their content, whether it be a movie, a TV show, or whatever, their content on a platform. And then they have a manager and an agent that helps shop them for different things. And if their brand is big enough, they get brand deals. That's what it all boiled down to. But he did it at a high level. So I'm not going to discredit his work. But let's not pretend like you need a big old team to do things like that. Yes, he had Revolt. I feel like that was an entity for real within itself. And maybe even when Bad Boy was like thriving and stuff like that, there were different people around. But what y'all don't understand is that there's not this huge company of like revolving employees that's getting paid on a consistent basis. And that's what the case revealed. And for those of you who are like, well, how was he able to produce these TV shows and things like that? You hire production teams to come in and do it for you. They work for hire. okay? They're not on payroll with the company. They are for the time that they're on contract, but once that contract is up, they got to go find another job. So when we think about Diddy's entity, he don't have an HR department. And unfortunately, across the entertainment industry, there's not a bunch of HR departments that are there to protect you. So just like Diddy's assistant was like, oh, I stayed around because I just thought it would get better and he was paying my bills and things of that nature. It's not like she could go complain to HR to say that, hey, well, he stopped me from leaving outside of his house. There's nobody you could go to. And you done signed the NDA, so who you gonna tell? The only reason I think she's talking now is because she had to go on the stand. I think she also gonna come out with her own lawsuit, but that's neither here nor there. Inside of the entertainment industry, it's a massive industry, but it's a lot of small businesses within that industry. And a lot of times when we're talking about artists run their own ship. They incorporate themselves and they got a small team and they're doing things within that small team. It's not a big old team of employees and HR departments and things of that nature. When you want to talk about what institutions have HR departments that you could actually go talk to somebody, we're talking about places like Atlantic Records, Universal Music Group, Sony Music Group, Warner Music Group. We're talking about people like that, entities like that, because they're so large. They have HR departments and they also have subsidiaries and they got their foot in all the different parts of the industry. We think let's use Universal Music Group, for example. Universal Music Group has theme parks. They also have a music subsidiary. They also produce film and television. Do you see what I'm saying? The entity is so massive that you need a human resources department to manage all the people that you're hiring, okay? And let's not pretend like those people who work at these entities, yes, they're happy to be there, but they also sign NDAs so they don't release information that is happening within inside of the industry there. But it also says that, like, if you are so privileged to be invited to a specific event with us, you're not going to talk, because we're dealing with artists who have egos, who have needs, addictions that we cater to so that they can continue to funnel the money. Because that's how you get paid. Because our artists, our entities, they're making money. They're bringing in the patrons. They're bringing in the views and the customers. So we're going to give them all the things that they need. And you need not talk about it. We just need to make sure they get on stage, make the money, cut the check, and get gone. There's not HR inside of the entertainment industry like that. And when it comes to dancers, singers, and actors, you have to be unionized in order to get somebody to listen to you when you have questions, comments, or concerns or being treated poorly while you're working. So you got SAG-AFTRA, which is why we went on strike, because these production companies were trying to take advantage and, use our likeness and our image without paying us for it and things of that nature. And, if you don't have union representation, people can treat you however they want to on set, which is why unionized workers cannot do non-union jobs, because non-union jobs are not going to provide you with the resources and the tools that you need to thrive as an artist as a union job will. That's just kind of how it goes. So there's no HR department coming to save you, okay? When we think about, again, how Diddy's business is set up, we realize that it wasn't as big as we thought. He clearly had one person that played multiple roles inside of his whole thing. So these people want to paint it out to say that, like, oh, he had this whole illegal enterprise. And unfortunately, because the entertainment industry is sex, drugs, and rock and roll, he was being a rock star. He had the rock and roll going on. And so he had people that he hired to make sure that the rock and roll was still rocking and rolling, okay? Because that's the business. That's how the money is being generated. But also, because he is in entertainment, the sex and the drugs came into play. And we see that play out inside of his case. So even though he had this small team that was helping him navigate the rock and roll, because the team is so small, people doing different things to help him get the sex and to help him to get the drugs. Maybe that's where the RICO case is going to come from. But I'm telling y'all, if this man is found guilty, a lot of people going to be shaking in their boots, because, baby, it's happening all around the industry. And I want you as a creative who wants to pursue this to understand that there's a lot of predators inside of the industry. And you have to understand that it has been sex, drugs, and rock and roll before you even born, before you decided to pursue this. And a lot of people are navigating the industry just that way. I'm not saying that you have to be a part of it, but I'm telling you, you're going to be privy to it. You're going to see it. You're going to be invited to it. And you have to determine if that's something that you want to do. And if that's something that you want to do, because there's a lot of people who say, I'm willing to make this sacrifice to be around these individuals. I'm going to sleep with this person. I'm going to take these drugs. I'm going to partake in the activities because this is something that I want to do. But at the end of the day, understand that that is a choice that you are making. It's a choice that you are making, and you don't have to do it. Sometimes peer pressure can be a thing, but you got to be strong within yourself to not fall for those things. And at the end of the day, you being a talented person, you having something that you can actually offer a team, you don't have to act like the groupies. You don't have to be the person that's sucking and loving on everybody for a job and an opportunity, because you actually have talent. And what I want you to understand is that there are so many people that would do anything to get close to these artists, to just touch the hem of their garment. And I'm here to tell you that these people are just human. And you might be asking me like, I don't know this girl. What is she talking about? Baby, I got Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Beyonce checks, okay? So we're not going to go there. And I'm not talking about it as a background extra. I'm talking about it as a principle, okay? So what I'm telling you are things that I know and things that I have experienced, okay? And I'm also going to let you know that, like, I'm not going to disparage anybody here, because I, too, have signed my fair share of NDAs. And I personally haven't had a crap ton of, like, terrible experiences. However, I have been privy to some things, and I have had some bad experiences where, you know, yeah, I just wasn't really interested in doing those things that other people were willing to do, and I lost the opportunity. Did it suck? Did it hurt my feelings? Did I feel like I should have given those things up? Maybe in the moment, but when I think about it in retrospect, it just wasn't the opportunity for me. I learned that early on in my career. And so moving forward, I chose to put myself in a position where I had to protect me first, because it was clear nobody else around me was going to protect me. And respectfully, I lost my father at the age of 18. So I didn't have my earthly father here to protect me. So I had to figure out, how do I navigate this industry in a way where I am safe, where people can't take advantage of me, because there's a lot of predators. And I'm telling y'all, they at different levels. They at different levels. It's different devils at different levels that are doing terrible things to people, because they see you're eager. They see your talent. They see your light. They see your ambition. And because terrible things have happened to them in their lives, and even though they have credits, and even though they have access, and even though they have had their experiences, hurt people hurt people. Okay? And so what I'm telling you from my own experience is that you don't have to sacrifice yourself or your moral code in order to get access to this industry. I know so many people who are booked, blessed, and busy without ever opening up their legs to anybody, unless they made that choice. Because what we also are forgetting to mention is that people often date inside of their own industry. So finance people usually marry people in finance. People who are in the restaurant business marry people who are in the restaurant business. People who, whatever, it goes on and on. And so let's not pretend like this trope of dating inside of the industry and people who, you know, whatever, is not a common thing. It's a common thing. But people do a lot of things for clout. People do a lot of things for access. And I'm telling you, it never works out. It never works out, because then you get to be the person that, oh yeah, she'll F for the job, or yeah, he'll do this for the job. And now you're the person that nobody takes serious, and you may be on a private jet on your way to go get F'd by the homies on a private island, and you think this is going to lead to more opportunities, but you're not getting booked anymore. You're not getting booked anymore because they see you as the girl that's just here for fun. She don't take her craft seriously. She just want access. She just want to be around. She just want to be hunched on. And so when we look at this Diddy case and we see all the women that were his girlfriends and partook inside of these freak-offs, a lot of them did things because they wanted access. Now that doesn't absolve Diddy of his abuse that he had of these people, and him and his drug addiction and things of that nature. But I'm telling y'all, this is something that happens so consistently at so many different levels. And again, there's people, if he's found guilty, are going to be shaking in their boots because they know they have done some terrible things. And I believe a slew of people are going to come out with lawsuits for money grabs against these individuals who are predators, who are rock and roll stars, who have gone after the sex and are also on drugs. And they use all three to gain power and access over other people to get the things that they want. And they're hurting people along the way. They're hurting people along the way. Now, I don't want to go on a tangent, but I do want to talk about a little bit about like this Tyler Perry situation. And I'm going to tie it back together with this Diddy situation because also, like I said, People do anything to touch the hem of the garment of these celebrities. And let's look at this Tyler Perry situation. Just like you, just like me, and shoot me down if I'm wrong. But if you were working somewhere and Tyler Perry told you that you look great, you should be an actor, ask for your information, you mean to tell me you're not going to give it to him? You're not going to give it to him? You would. Because who doesn't want to work with Tyler Perry? And even the people who feel like Tyler Perry is the Antichrist and he does terrible content about black women and this and that third degree, Tyler Perry cuts checks, good ones, okay? He's making people very wealthy, okay? And his movies are #1 on whatever platform that they come out of. So y'all can say whatever y'all want to say about Mr. TP. I got a lot of respect for that man. I've worked very closely with that man. He was very professional. He got the job done. Would I work with him again? Absolutely. So fast forward back to this individual who's trying to sue him now. I don't know what happened in the course of the things, but it seems like this person was in Hollywood with their own dreams, goals, and aspirations, and Tyler Perry took a liking to them, gave them opportunities, gave them access to him in a way that other people didn't have access. And now, I don't know what's going on, but now you're coming out with the lawsuit. To me, it feels like a money grab. Why do I say that? Because when you look at the thread of conversations that they were having, it looked like casual conversation. And I feel like a lot of what's happening in social media and people are demonizing Tyler Perry because of his sexual preference. Who cares? Who cares? We cannot demonize people for being sexual. All the music talks about sex. All the movies talk about sex. All the TV shows got sex in it. Everybody's showing breast and booty and social media, like all these things. It's just, sex is everywhere. So the fact that we're trying to demonize people in their sexuality is crazy to me. Okay, yeah, oh, he screamed Christian this and that in the third degree, but he's flirting with a man. So what? So what? Miss me with it. Christians in our judgmental ways. Yes, I'm Christian, but like, please. I'm not going to judge somebody's sin over mine. Because trust me, I've sinned and I sin to this day. God forgive me. Please. But I think it's crazy that we will demonize somebody's sexuality and their sexual preference. Being sexual is not a crime. Unless, I guess it is a crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're not doing it with a consenting adult, that's when it becomes a crime. Okay? So, when we talk about Diddy and we talk about this whole Tyler Perry situation, the tie between it is that people wanted access to powerful individuals for opportunity. Tyler Perry gave this man an opportunity. He got him roles in 2 of his TV shows. The women that were messing with Diddy thought that they were going to get more opportunity, access, money, resources, recognition, red carpets. Now, many of them did not get that, which is why a lot of them are upset. I don't know what happened with this man. But I also want you as the entertainer to understand that, like, opportunities don't come because of sex. Okay? It doesn't come because of that. I'm not going to pretend like I've never dated in the entertainment industry. I did, but I was very much so in love with that person. And the love was established after I had worked multiple times with this person. And then we recognized that there was chemistry here. And while our relationship was very private, you know, on a public spectrum, if people were around us, we didn't hide our love for each other, but we did not put it on the forefront. Because I wanted people to respect me for my talent, and respectfully, that relationship has been over for many moons now. And here I am still working, blessed, booked, and busy. God is good. Okay? But also, you have to understand that, like, this is why NDAs are important, and this is why these individuals are so mean and standoffish and things of that nature, because people are opportunists. And unfortunately, in this Diddy situation, he was so traumatized and accustomed to people using him and people wanting access to him because of who he is. When that drug addiction and that sex addiction getting away, now he becomes a predator and he is abusive. He's not the only person. Again, there are people who are going to be shaking in their boots if he's found guilty, because I'm telling you, it happens at every level. There's different devils at different levels, okay? And you think these people have power, but they really don't. And they're accustomed to being taken advantage of and being used and abused, because this industry has a lot of using and abusing inside of it, okay? Also, I want you to know that all money ain't good money. All money is not good money. If it takes you sacrificing yourself, your soul, who you are as a human for the opportunity, if it makes you go against your morals and your spiritual beliefs and your mental beliefs and you're going to feel guilty about it, that ain't the money you want to make. That is not the money you want to make. I've been very privileged that I've never been in a situation like that. But all money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. Like, you can't be willing to sacrifice it all. You can't be willing to get beat for it. You can't be willing to be drugged for it. You can't be willing to get peed on and beat up. I mean, not unless getting peed on is your thing. But you can't be willing to go against the things that are morally inept to you in order to get an opportunity. Who does that make you as a person? I really, truly encourage everybody who is pursuing this industry to have a mental and spiritual foundation before you get into it, because you can get lost. And because it is so negative, because you can be violated, because you can go through these different things, because there are so many negative, traumatizing, demonic spirits inside of the industry, you can lose yourself. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. You got to be sound. You have to have a strong foundation mentally and spiritually, so that you are always in alignment, and the jobs that are for you will be for you. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it ain't for you, it will pass you. Trust me. If it is, nothing that's for you will ever pass you. That's just the way God is set up, which is why you need to have that mental and spiritual foundation. You can't be willing to go after things and give up whatever just for an opportunity, okay? Also, I hate what has happened to Cassie and all these different women, and even the assistants and stuff like that. But this industry will chew you up and spit you back out. That's what this is showing me. And no matter how many sacrifices you make, no matter how much you think you're making progress and getting closer to, your goal and things of that nature, you got to have a plan for yourself, because it's dog eat dog out here, okay? And you have to make sure that you're going about things in a way that you can sleep with yourself at night. That you're not ashamed of the choices that you made, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities that come your way that you might have to say no to. Do you understand? When I talk about this industry being able to chew you up and spit you out, I remember it was a situation that happened once inside of my career where there was a team that I was so eager to work with. This choreographer, I wanted to work with him and his team so bad. And for whatever reason, I kept getting so close, and never made it. I never got in. But then all of a sudden, there was one person on the team that went missing. And after that person went missing, then all the opportunities with that team opened up for me. Not all of them, but the opportunities that I went out for, I started to get them. I got booked for movies and TV shows and music videos and things of that nature. Like, I was able to do these things because this one individual was gone. So one day I'm at an industry event, and that one individual that was gone came up to me, and they were just like, you know what, Naderah? No matter how many rooms people have tried to keep you out of, you've always found your way inside of those rooms, and you've shown up with so much grace and talent and beauty, respect, and you also showed out every time that you showed up. I said, thank you, but what? You were my problem the whole time? I never had to sacrifice anything. I never had to suck on, love on, whatever, to get inside of these rooms. All I did was show up as myself, and me being myself and being grounded and not being easily manipulated was intimidating to this person. They didn't want me inside of the room. Well, trust me, I didn't want to be inside of a room where I wasn't wanted, where somebody was going to make my life hell, because I'm still dear from Dade County. I have things to say. I've never been the quiet person, and you're probably not going to like that, but I'm going to come with respect, but you're not going to disrespect me. Yeah? What I will also say is that this industry is dog eat dog, and hurt people hurt people. So I don't know what happened to that person, why they felt it was necessary for them to cause harm to me, and then eventually come to me and pretty much apologize and say, I'm sorry for the things that I did to you. But this Diddy case is evident that, like, this man is hurt. And he hurt a lot of other people along the way because of the things that he went through. You hear the stories about how people closed the door in his face, how he had to start as an intern. And they're not nice to interns in this industry, because they feel like you're just here for an opportunity, and everybody's afraid that you're going to take their job. Fragile, it's fickle. So you have to be grounded so that you don't get hurt by these hurt individuals and end up hurting yourself and somebody else. I hate to say it like that, but it's just real. I'm not here to scare y'all, because I want you to go after your passion, but I just want you to know that, like, it ain't sweet the whole time. I ain't named this podcast Glitz and Ghetteaux for no reason, because it's ghetto. Ghetto. People are getting beat. People are getting drugged. People are going to freak offs for days on end for an opportunity in the industry. You're that pressed, you're that desperate. I'm not doing that, so I'm missing out on opportunities because I'm not doing it. And there's a lot of people not doing it, but I'm telling you, the people that do it, it's short-lived. They're in court right now, testifying, talking about how they're traumatized. And I'm not saying that to be funny or to be a joke, but I'm just telling you, you don't have to do it. I don't want you to be a person inside the courtroom because, trust me, everybody's not a billionaire like Diddy. Everybody's not a billionaire like Diddy. They might make you feel like they are, but they're not. Okay? It's all smoke and mirrors. All of it. Yeah? Ultimately, I'm just going to say that I don't know what the verdict is going to be on this whole Diddy situation because I'm not in the courtroom. But my heart does go out to all the women that were victims and all the men that were victims inside of this case. My heart goes out to all the women and men who, like me, were triggered by the evidence of this case and you felt re-injured by the facts of the case because of your own journey in the industry. My heart goes out to everyone who overcame these things, who healed from these things, who've gone through therapy, and you were re-triggered by this whole situation because, you know, this industry could be wild. It could be wild. And if you listen to this entire podcast, I hope that this is something that you put inside of your toolkit and understand that, like, you don't have to be a person that is subjected to those things. You can really rest your laurels on your talent and your skill and understand that, like, you can build healthy relationships with people. And if it goes in a direction that you don't want it to go in, then that's not the relationship for you. Build healthy relationships. Don't be like a clout chaser or an opportunist because people can smell that and you make yourself open and prey to being a victim of a predator. But lead with love, lead with authenticity, be authentically yourself, be genuine, be kind, be personable, be amicable, be professional. Because there's nobody there to protect you but you. And there's nobody there that's going to stop you from doing the things that you want to do. I'm telling you, you can get on a tour. People are doing wild things on tours. You get in a show for a long period of time. People are doing wild things. You get with an artist, music videos. I've seen it all. Movies, TV shows, all the things. Like, people are sexually driven. And if that's not what you want your reputation to be, then don't let that be your reputation. Also, be quiet. Don't run your mouth about the things that have nothing to do with you. Mind your business. People make choices for themselves every single day. Let that be their choice. And understand that you don't have to do what that person's doing because you are special and you are unique and you don't have to go down that same path. And now it may feel some type of way to you in the moment, but I'm telling you, you're going to have much more respect, much more longevity, and greater opportunities because your reputation speaks for you before you step inside of the room. Trust me, the people that's having sex for jobs are known because they have sex for jobs. And they're getting put on or not on because of that reputation. I know a couple people in the industry who ain't getting jobs because they the fun person. This ain't about fun over here. This is about getting the job done. And trust me, the teams that are hiring or firing based on your willingness to be intimate, that ain't the team you want to be on. And God is my witness. The major jobs that you want to be on is strictly professional. Strictly professional. Okay? So, with all that being said, I don't know whether Diddy's going to be guilty or not. I'm not going to yuck his yum. His kink is this whole freak off thing and cuckolding or whatever that is that they talked about inside of the case. I don't think that's a crime. But I do not know if they're going to be able to catch him on this RICO thing because pretty much he used his employees to facilitate his whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll operation. And maybe that is seen as a crime. I don't know what they'll come down with as the verdict. I don't think it's a criminal enterprise, if I'm going to be frank and honest. Like, that's my opinion. My opinion also is such that if he is found guilty, that the individuals who also work in the entertainment industry and at their different levels are doing the same thing at some capacity, they should be shaking in their boots because it's been swept under the rug for so long. It was just like, oh, that's just what the industry comes with. And because entertainment is our greatest outsource or output in the world from America. I feel like nobody has ever stopped it because, you know, the artists, the rock and rollers are the ones who are making the money, and they're you know, fueling the engine. So people got away with it for so long. But I don't know who Diddy pissed off to get inside of this position. But for you as the artist that is pursuing a career in this industry, these are the things that I feel like you should have learned from this case. And I hope that the entertainment industry will evolve and become better in the future, because it's hurt way too many people along the way. And I think that hurt is driving people into drug addiction. But I hope that, you know, for all the people that are under the sound of my voice, that you will take your career seriously. Yes, you'll have fun, but you won't treat it as a game. And if you do recognize it as a game, that you'll play the game according to the rules, but also using them to help you win. Whatever that means for you. Make your choices. Make your choices. Make the right choices for you. Either way, I'm your girl Naderah. This has been another episode of the Glitz and Ghetteaux podcast. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I know I've been pushing out episodes and doing different things in different ways, but I'm trying to be more consistent, and I'm also wanting to be relevant to what's going on, because I do have some other episodes in the chamber, but I did not want to miss the opportunity to talk about this very serious subject matter, because I feel like it's important. But either way, I love y'all so much. If you have any questions about how you can navigate the industry, please use the email here. I'll also put it in the description. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast, I'll put it in the description, but please go ahead and send us an email at the email address here for any of your questions, comments, or concerns about pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. I'm very well versed in all the different areas of the entertainment industry. I'm a dancer, singer, actress. I've done film, TV, live stage productions, worked with artists, music videos, you name it. I've done it. I'm award winning across, like, in multiple platforms. And so, nationally acclaimed, award winning. So I really want to use my expertise to help as many people as possible, especially as I navigate this journey. I love y'all so much, and I just want people to win, and I don't want people to ever have to experience the tragedies and the trauma that were displayed and laid out inside of this case, and even have to experience some of the negative things that I had to overcome in the industry. And so that's the purpose of this podcast. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the Glitz and Ghetteaux podcast, and I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Make sure you leave us a review, share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I love y'all so much. It's been great here. I'll see y'all on the next episode.
Film and TV, she does that. Theatrical, she been that. And Glitz and Ghetteaux was our podcast to show you how to achieve that. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure. You came to get paid. The glitz and glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes, it really is ghetto. Yeah, glitz and ghetto. Glitz and ghetto. Yeah, glitz and ghetto. Glitz and ghetto. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure. You came to get paid. The glitz and glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes, it really is ghetto. Yeah, glitz and ghetto. Glitz and ghetto. Yeah, glitz and ghetto. It's Glitz and Ghetteaux.